So we are talking with Ms. Ashely Jones,
Yes, thank you.
also also known as Bridget Forrester from The Bold and the Beautiful.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
we're talking with you about your Lifetime movie. What's it like to be a Lifetime girl?
Well, I've been a part of the network for oh my gosh. I was in my early to mid 20s when I did my first actually no, I did a movie for them in my teens, but I've been a part of the network for a really long time. They've been around for 40 years. So I'm honored that you would even say a lifetime girl. But this is a little bit different because it's an LOM, an original true crime movie, and I also executive produced it. So to answer your question, it feels pretty awesome.
Well, speaking of that, so you obviously have acted in several of their projects, or several projects for Lifetime, I should say. But is this your first time executive producing?
No, I've executive produced uh, quite a few, but they were for Lifetime Movie Network, which is their sister company.
Right.
This is the first LOM I've produced for Lifetime TV. So that's the difference here, and
Yeah.
a little more responsibility and a lot more people involved, and
Right.
hopefully a lot more people will watch. We'll see.
I know the movie is called The Girl Who Survived, the Alina Thompson Story. But for me personally, after watching the film, and I apologize for anyone who's tuning in, yes, I got to watch in advance. But I
Thank you
would have
for
called it,
watching. I appreciate
no, of
that. I know
course.
I know you had to like cram it in at the last minute, so I
No,
appreciate.
no, it's perfect. Actually, I was going to say that I would have called it red flags because
Oh,
because like every time I tuned in, I was like red flags, red flags. Like, what are these girls doing? And the fact
yeah.
that this is based on a true story is even scarier.
It's
Now,
really terrifying. But you know what? What's interesting is that these red flags that these girls had back then we didn't really talk about it that much. And now we're experiencing the same type of stuff, but it's online. On
exactly.
Roblox, it's on social media. There's all these documentaries, the unknown, online bullying and different things like that, that the Tinder swindler, all these things that aren't, they may not end in murder, but some of them do. And this, so it's a little bit of a morality tale as well about and a caution to parents to really, really watch what your kids are doing online. Back then it was in person, but the flags are still there and the flags are there today.
Exactly. When I was watching the film, I couldn't help but realize how advanced our technology has become.
Mhm.
Because what could have or what did happen to some of them possibly might not have happened if they just had a cell phone.
I was just saying that to someone else, a cell phone, DNA, if we had, um, criminal records across state
Right.
lines, things like that. So there's a lot of good that's come from
Mm-hmm.
the past, 40, 50 years. The 90s and the 2000s really changed a lot, which is exactly why this story is being told. They,
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
2006, they were able to go back and really reopen the file and look at how many women William Bradford actually did murder.
Yes. And like when it first started, I was like, okay. I don't, of course, this is somewhat of a spoiler interview. So anyone who's tuning in, sorry.
Well, all of it if you don't
um,
want.
no, no,
Well,
it's fine.
it is called The Girl Who Survived, so
I
that's
mean,
a little bit of a spoiler. So
exactly. But when the first situation happened, I'm calling it situation because I want to say the exact word at the moment. But I was like, okay, she almost got away. But then she turned around and wanted to give him her number. And if we were in the world of cell phones, I would have been like, just have, like, first of all, I don't know why she didn't write it down or have him write it down. Like, he has a
right,
notepad and paper. Like, why doesn't he use it? And then if it was cell phones, again, the same thing. Like, have, just verbally tell them the number. But
yeah,
unfortunately, it happened, and I felt so like flabbergasted because again, we're living in a modern world. Like obviously, I mean, I was born in the 80s, I lived through the 90s, and it was more like, oh mom, I'm going to my friend's house. I'll see you later. When are you coming back? Dinner time. There's no question. Like you were like worried about your children were. There was no like,
no,
oh, call the other parent unless of course there was a reason why. And you're just at like Bucky's house or somebody's, name.
you
Uh
stayed on your bike and you came home when when the lights came on and when it got dark, the
exactly.
street lights came on. Yeah, I lived in,
Yeah.
yeah,
So obviously you exec produced, but how did you get involved? Did you bring the project to Lifetime, or did they bring it to you? How did that go?
I did, yes. My producing partner is Pierre David. He's very well versed in the Lifetime world and has produced hundreds of movies for them. And we heard the story and we really believed this was a film. And so we kind of came up with a concept, did a ton of research, talked to Alina quite a bit, and we were able to, pitch to them. And the way that our world is like, people come and go at networks and stuff. So we had to go through a couple of channels and really had one executive very much interested, and then another executive took over. So sometimes there's some hurdles, but
Right.
that's at every work network. That's at every company really. And but once we got the real go ahead to do it, we were able to really dig in deep and develop the script. And I I honestly, there were some nights I was reading so much about William Bradford and Alina's story. You can see her story on 48 Hours and Dateline and BC, and in the early 2000s. And I was like, I'd get up and like go check my windows, make sure I double bolted my door. And because it's, it's a, it's scary. It's scary reading
Right.
that a real human being could, I don't want to say the word accomplished, that would be capable of doing all these things. And we literally scratched the surface because it's only on a 2 hour movie. There was so much more to him that we could do a whole different movie based on before we ever meet him and afterward. He is a horrifically evil human being, or
Right.
was. He's gone now.
Right. Yes. I actually when I was watching the film, I was like, if this took place in like an apartment complex or something, I I guess what I'm trying to say is when I saw him living next door to one of his victims,
Yes,
I
which
was
was
like, you would think this sounds kind of weird to me to say this, but you would think you'd be a little bit more like smart not to do that to someone in your neighborhood, because then it's like, obviously you did something, but at the same time, it's like that just tells you you need to be weary of your neighbors, because yes, they may be, you're new to the neighborhood, you think they, hey, how you doing, whatever, but you don't know the people's secrets. You don't know
yeah,
what they're capable of. And the fact that he was just like, the minute he met a lot of them was just simply, oh, I met you, I want to kill you.
yeah.
What? I
But
mean,
if you, which I, uh, I hate to say I'm well versed in this right now, but when we were developing the script, you read a lot. There's a lot of um, characteristics of serial killers, and a lot of them are some of them. And he actually did. He had his eye on Alina for a while because he couldn't get her, but a
right.
lot of them he was able to lure in very very quickly. But all of the Ryan Murphy stuff that he's putting out right now, you watch it and it seems so unbelievable. Like, why would you bring the victim back to your apartment and or you're showing everyone in your hallway like it? They the way that their brains operate is very different than yours and mine, obviously. But
Hmm.
it's a crazy, and I keep thinking when I'm watching this stuff or reading it, I'm like, how did they get away with this for
Right.
so long? But a lot of these, I mean, I hope no one, I hope I'm not living or near a serial killer. Although there was someone in Studio City and part of LA actually, that was killing, kind of went on a rampage. Was it a couple months ago? Or at least he was able to kill a couple of people. So I guess that's, I don't, like a serial killer. But
Yeah.
um, you're absolutely right. You just need to really be aware. I'm glad you brought up the woman at the very beginning of the movie because I like the way this actress played her, and I like the way it was written. She was smart.
Yes.
You could see the wheels turning. She wasn't just like, oh, I want to be, a model or a movie star, and I'm going to do whatever you say. She was smart, and
Right.
he just was smarter.
That's the unfortunate thing. And then on top of that, and I mean, obviously we're spoiling things a little bit, but what annoyed me the most, of course, this is based on a true story, so I'm sure that this actually happened. The actual murder weapon, at least I believe that was the murder weapon because we didn't see her after that point. When he used the tripod that she literally brought to the position to help him take pictures of her, just for him to use it on her and to kill her. And I was like, wow, this is just, it's so scary that you have to have your guard up at all times. Like every minute that something was going on where somebody was either making, well, I would say they were making poor decisions across the board, but I was just like, I don't know if I were in their shoes, what I would have done differently. Although watching what they're doing, I would have been like, I would have done this, I would have done this, I would have done that.
Right. And he seemed legitimate. He had a really nice
Right,
camera, he had a tripod, he had pictures of beautiful women. Um, and we just have to remember the time. And I kept saying that. I'm like, well, this is the 80s, this is the 80s. But then I'm sitting here thinking, this is happening today as well, just in a slightly different way.
right.
There's predators everywhere all the time. And I'm reading a ton of stuff about online gaming and things like that and you hear now, like, be very wary of sleepovers and different things like that
Oh
because it
God, yes.
happens everywhere all the time, right under your nose.
And no matter how long you vet somebody, like say a parent vetting another parent and vetting kids kind of thing, even that is not necessarily enough. I mean,
Never know
it could go
what neighbor might
years.
come over, or if there's an uncle or a cousin or a brother's best friend, or
Right.
the older brother has friends over. You just never know what can happen.
Yeah. I was watching a true crime story on this channel called Dr. Insanity on YouTube.
Yeah,
And this
I
best
know that.
friend, oh, yeah, yeah, this best friend killed his other friend. I still don't know why, but at the same time, it's like they grew up together. And that, so even then, it's just mind boggling. So, okay, so how did this casting process work? Because your cast was phenomenal. Like,
Thank you. Oh, I'm so
Sam,
happy to hear that.
Sam Tremmell, when I first saw him, I was like, he looks very familiar. Then I looked at the summary and I was like, oh right, True Blood. But Steve Byers, he was so. Pardon me for saying this. He was like creepy, but in a good way, because it's just like I'm already like fearful of him in terms of what I know he's about to do, his character at least, of course. And then is it Brielle? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, yes. Wasn't she
Awesome.
fabulous?
Oh my God, she was, and I felt for her and the friendship that was kind of ruined because of self
Yeah,
doubt and miscommunication. And one of the things that I noticed was how quickly I think what's her name was I think he called her Natasha, but it's like, is it Natalie?
Natalie. Yeah,
Natalie. I think I remember it was okay.
yeah.
So I
He
remember.
kept messing up her name. Yeah,
Right. I remember that Bradford had with like, oh, I'll use you to lure Alina in. And then he's like, oh, can we just do pictures of Alina? And I was like, if I were her, I'd be like, excuse me? No. But at the same time, obviously
right.
to tell the story. But so how did this casting process work out?
Well, the way that a lot of casting processes work out these days are self tapes. And so we watched a ton of self tapes. Now, Sam, they just Lifetime decided they really wanted to focus on the father-daughter story here.
Right.
They had a list of names, like most networks have when you're, casting a film. And I saw Sam's name and thought, oh, well, I might have a little pull with this one here because
Yeah.
of True Blood. So, yeah, I had a long conversation with Sam, and luckily I convinced him to come play with us. And he's so good. He's just such a fabulous talent, so pleasant and easy to be around, always prepared, and comes up with new stuff that kind of pops off the page. I thought Steve was wonderful. We read a lot of people for this role. And same with Brielle. We tested people, we went through a lot of tapes. To me, the minute I saw her tape, I knew it was her. And I felt like the network would think that. So what we do is as producers, we watch, and the casting director, Alona Smythe, was fantastic. She brought us all these tapes and we narrow it down to like our top 5 choices. And then we see what the network thinks. And then we have a meeting and we argue about it and go through it. And Bucola played Natalie, and she was um, she had a effervescence about her that I felt like popped through the TV when I was watching her tape. She was fantastic. And really, like, we read every single person, even down to like 3 lines in the newscaster. So it's a puzzle you put together, and
Right.
it has to be done very carefully.
I just as I'm seeing you wearing glasses, I'm reminded at the end of the movie, your character went from not wearing glasses to wearing glasses at the end, and so I guess it was kind of a way of like aging your character up.
What's funny, we tried, Sam didn't do it. Sam grayed his hair and his beard, which I thought looked fantastic. He looked hot. Um, they put a ton of wrinkles all over me with prosthetic, all over my face and neck. And with the lights, it didn't really show up, which is, so I got on camera and everyone was saying, you don't look any older than you did in the last scene. So we added the glasses and changed the wardrobe a little bit to try to make it seem like she was a little bit older, a good 20 years older. But the prosthetics didn't really show up. It almost just made it look like my skin was really dry, which does happen when you age. So As a little Easter egg, maybe people can look and see if they can see the prosthetics on my face.
I didn't,
You
honestly.
did.
I
I don't
didn't.
think I don't think anyone's going to be able to do it because they were so subtle, which is good. You don't want it to look like you know, aged.
Yeah,
But so there's some pictures circulating that the press have used, and they don't explain, oh, this is Ashely trying to be, 66.
right.
It just looks like, oh, she didn't put a lot of effort into this role. Um, but the glasses helped.
Yes, it did. Yeah, I have to say, like, because I saw with the, because of the title thing, like, I think it was what, 22 years later, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we saw Sam, and I was like, okay, I get the hair difference because I think I saw the different coloring. Then I saw you come out, and I was like, unless your hair was like a little shorter looking in a certain
A
area,
little tiny bit shorter, yeah. But there wasn't
yeah.
much difference.
But
Yeah.
not, and that wasn't a bad thing. I mean, I did notice that was clearly what the point was, but the glasses I think helped it.
Good.
But in this case, I don't see it at all. So definitely, so so whatever they did in the prosthetics,
It did
it did
work.
its job, even though it wasn't like as obvious. So I'll give it to that.
Thank you.
So the movie is airing on Saturday,
Yeah,
September 20th, I believe,
correct.
on Lifetime. Tell us why fans should tune in.
Well, you get to see Dr. Bridget do something slightly different. And there is I think people are going to really love the period piece of it all, the 80s nostalgia, some of the music, the feeling of what life was like when we were, when growing up, either if you're my age and you were growing up, or you're like my parents' age and you were raising kids, you'll remember that time. I mean, we worked on the cars and the wardrobe and the locations, everything. So there's a lot of nostalgia here. And then also just I love I mean exactly what you said. I love watching true crime when I keep seeing thinking this can't be true. This can't be true. And then I Google it. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's true. Oh my goodness, he lived next door to Tracy. Oh my goodness, this happened. Oh my goodness, he really used that wardrobe to hurt this other person. That's his
Right.
real name. He really did that. I I find it fascinating, and I don't know if it's a healthy obsession, but our a lot of our culture is a little obsessed with true crime right now.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times I've noticed the Lifetime, I mean, the soap opera world, and all of our amazing fans from the shows I've been on, Young and the Restless and General Hospital and Bold and the Beautiful, they tend to like, especially the Lifetime original movies. So they've always appreciated them before. The two I directed did very, very well. And I loved that this community came together to support me. And I'm really grateful that I hope they do it again. And I'm really grateful that they continue
Yeah.
to support me.
Well, I can tell you that the film is amazing.
Thank you. I
I
know that makes me so
no, no,
happy.
of course. I
It
mean,
really makes me
I
so happy. I don't know
when
what people are gonna think.
when I saw the transition at the end where they were looking for, well, not that they were looking, but they were looking through the collage of photos that were like in the newspaper.
Those, a lot
I
of those
was
were a lot of
I
those
was
were real photos. Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask you.
Right.
Yeah, because I kind of felt that was the case because usually
We
films
had to get
kind of,
clearance on some of them, and then some of them we couldn't get clearance, so then we used, actors, but a lot of those are the real faces.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when in the movie you couldn't tell because the story obviously you didn't have enough time to tell the whole story, but the fact that he went from just a few victims in the film to knowing he killed dozens upon dozens
Dozens
of
upon
people.
dozens. And we don't
I
even,
mean,
and there's still a good 14 that we haven't identified.
right. I
So,
mean, that is the epitome of serial killer. Like, I mean, I hate even defining it, but that's literally what they mean. And he got away with it for so long, and thank God he died.
um,
Um,
and I couldn't believe a movie hadn't been made about it.
right?
Yeah.
Until this movie, I didn't know that this was a story. I didn't know. I mean, but then just goes to show you how many countless of situations are going on in the world that are similar, if not exact, not would say copies, but
No,
certain
yeah,
variations, and they go unsolved. And unfortunately, that happens. But these types of stories need to be told to get more awareness, as you said earlier.
I agree. Yeah. And Lifetime has worked with an organization called Stop Women Against Violence for a long time. And I think this is a perfect movie to support their movement in that, and really, really help give women the tools to know how to protect themselves.
Yeah. No, I know we have to go soon because I know that you have to probably speak to someone else shortly, but I can't not have you and not ask you some questions about, or at least one or two, about the bold and the beautiful.
Of course.
So, Ms. Bridget, can we expect to? Well, I know you're not Bridget, but I mean you're playing Bridget.
I get called
Um,
Bridget all the time.
but can we expect to see more of Bridget on The Bold and the Beautiful?
Yes, you can. I'm coming back in October and you're going to see me do something I haven't done before, interact with some people I haven't worked with before. So that's
Awesome. And so, how do you
I'll
like the
get
new
I'll get
studio?
I'll get in so much trouble if I do
Oh no,
anything.
I know.
So you know, Eva, I have to be careful.
Exactly. But what's it like working on the new set?
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's fun. You get to it's the even just the walls when you pull up, they're pink and it's just
Mm-hmm.
see the palm trees. Um, there's like a little outdoor cafe on the lot. It's being on a real, Ryan Murphy studios are coming soon right next door to us. They've filmed I Love Lucy there. It's real
Right.
old Hollywood. It's been around a long time and you can see, I mean, I'm just naming a couple. There've been countless movies shot there and you're walking around and you remember, oh, that movie was there. Oh, that movie. And you see the post of some of the old Hollywood, real Hollywood legends. And it feels like, you're part of the game still. So I
Oh
love
no,
it.
we saw you on the day they were supposed to start shooting for the first time. Although technically they shot a week before,
I
but
know.
but for
Oh
the
yeah, you
grand
were there
opening,
for the ribbon
yeah.
cutting. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we were like, is she filming? Is she filming? But then you would just disappear.
I wasn't filming that day,
You're
but
right.
I brought Hayden so he could kind of see the new studio. He loved the old studio. He loved running around.
Yeah.
Now he's getting familiar with the new one.
Awesome. And I know you can't give too many details about who you're going to be interacting with, but I know fans are like, this story writes itself. Why isn't she, Bridget, working with Finn and maybe delving into something more romantic? I
I
mean,
have
Brooke,
seen that a lot. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Brooke, her mother, Bridget's mother, has been in and out of relationships with several men, including Bridget's. And yet
Multiple.
Bridget can't take after her mother. Like, come on. Not necessarily in a good way, but also or not a bad way either.
Uh, I always I sound like a broken record saying this. I could throw out so many fun ideas that fans have floated, and that when I'm on set, I'm like, oh, this could be fun. Oh, we have chemistry. What it really comes down to is it's a half-hour show,
Right.
and it's hard to have all the characters on at the same time. And I think I can only imagine if I were, which I never will be because he's a legend, but if I were trying to do what Brad Bell's done successfully for 30, are we going on the 39th year, almost to 40 years? it
Mm-hmm.
it's I think when he gets a spark and he really sees something, he writes it. And I trust his instincts immensely. And I've been grateful that he brings Bridget back on the canvas so often. He sees fit. I will be there.
Right.
I think it's an obvious choice for Bridget and Finn to have something, and they work so well. We work so well together. We could figure out, and it doesn't always have to be romantic, although I wouldn't mind that either because Bridget hasn't had a romance in quite a while. We wonder, like, what does she do outside the hospital?
I
Um,
mean,
so yeah, there's a lot of little avenues that she could take. Katie's stolen her husband before. There's
some Logans.
I know. But the bottom line is if they write it, I will be there if as long as I'm available and not doing another.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Ashely Jones. I know I keep saying Miss Ashley Jones, but I'm
I love
but
it.
just
I love it. Miss Ashley Jones, it sounds like, oh, Ashley. Remember Gone with the Wind?
love it, love it.
But
So, The Girl Who Survived, the Alina Thomas story airs
Thompson Story.
Saturday, September 20th on Lifetime, and that
Lifetime and
is
streaming on My Lifetime the next day and all major platforms.
awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to speak with me.
Thank you.
If there's any other thing we can discuss on another day, of course, about any other projects you're doing, please do keep us in mind.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for enjoying your time, hopefully, with me from soap
I
opera
always
network Era
enjoy my
Lewis.
time with you guys. All right. Well, have a beautiful
Thank
day.
you so much.